Well, in full exploration around the possibilities that Spider-Man 4 can offer, especially that now we do not know more about the rest of the planning of the MCU with the arrival of Avengers 5 Doomsday and the return of Robert Downey Jr., here are some news that will allow us to better visualize everything. Finally, Spider-Man 4 could be much more important than we think for the rest of the MCU, so if in addition the great villain of the saga wears the face of Spider-Man's mentor, how can we tell you that everything is going crazy in possibilities? Take out your superhero costumes, sit back comfortably, don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sam, and today we're talking about the new Spider-Man 4 movie, but also about its link with the Avengers movies. Enjoy the video. Spider-Man 4 is probably at the top of the list when it comes to the most anticipated Marvel movies. After all, we have finally arrived at the most important part of the story in the life of Peter Parker, a chapter of his story where he is at the bottom, alone since no one remembers him, no rich billionaires to support him and fix his mistakes, no more friends or family he can count on. Now he has to live alone and will have a hard time paying his rent. But above all, we have arrived at a chapter of his story where he finally understood that his actions have real consequences and that a great power involves great responsibilities. Now we can say it, all the cases have been checked. Imagine then what the arrival of Venom could mean in Peter's life at this precise moment. This is, in any case, what the rest of the story is heading towards. That's it. That's what the end of the Spider-Man 3 No Way Home movie and its post-credit scene, stimulating our curiosity as well as our imagination to the maximum and hype us more than ever for Spider-Man 4. Let's get started. First, let's list and analyze together the recent news about the project, whether close or far, before exploring in more detail what certain news means and how they are related to the other projects of the MCU. It just happened. Spider-Man 4 finally found its director in the person of Dustin Daniel Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings. I really like this movie, and what it offers is an announcement that pleases me. However, where it becomes intriguing is that before the announcement concerning Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars with the return of Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers to make the films, long before Avengers 5 was named Doomsday, it was a question of Avengers Kang Dynasty, and you know what? It was the director of Shang-Chi who was supposed to take care of it, which makes me say that Marvel Studios, with Kevin Feige, trusted the director of Shang-Chi and liked his ideas enough to entrust him with the multiverse movie par excellence. Kang Dynasty was the advent of the Kang, the premises of the great multiverse war, so seeing this precise director take care of the next Spider-Man 4 movie, I admit it, it makes me say that the agreement between Marvel Studios and Sony was ultimately based on a multiverse-focused movie. We'll come back to that later. Just as interesting recently, it was Andrew Garfield who spoke out on the future of his Spider-Man. Let's say that the stories he told were endless about his character. Needless to say, we already know that the character will make his return in the grand finale of the saga alongside the Spider-Man of Tobey and Tom Holland. But who knows? His return could start faster than we think, especially if Spider-Man 4 will indeed take place in the continuity of No Way Home. You may not know it, but internally, Marvel Studios and Sony had a lot of trouble agreeing on the continuation of Spidey's story. In short, if Marvel Studios wanted to explore more down-to-earth stories with a more conventional Spider-Man, getting closer to what Tobey and Andrew's Spidey stories told, Sony, on the other hand, wanted to cling to the multiverse aspect that made No Way Home a success, continue to explore the multiverse of Spider-Man and more beautiful, bringing to the screen, and faster than expected, Tobey and Andrew's Spidey. At the end, Spider-Man 4 could be a Spider-Verse movie without live action, something that still fits perfectly with Sony's desire to make a solo movie in live action on Miles Morales. In short, Sony wants multiverse everywhere. After all, Spider-Man No Way Home broke everything with the same formula. Recent information then indicates that Marvel Studios and Sony would have found a common ground that remains unknown, but given what is being prepared with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, we can easily turn to a multiverse movie with this Spider-Man 4, especially that its release date would be placed according to the estimates between Avengers 5 and 6. And with this information in mind, how can we tell you that everything becomes very, very quickly interesting? Remember, between Avengers 3 and 4, we had the right to the release of Ant-Man 2, a film that took place before Avengers Infinity War, but whose final connects directly to Avengers 4 to prepare Endgame. What if in reality that's what it was about? A Spider-Man 4 movie with its multiverse coming out between the Avengers Avengers movies, whose final connects with Avengers Doomsday, and what it causes so that Spidey is directly involved in Secret Wars. I don't know about you, but I really like the idea, especially given the importance that Spider-Man has taken since the announcement of the return of Robert Downey Jr. And yes, now, thanks to the link between Peter and Tony, and due to the face of the great villain of the saga, it is useless to make a drawing about the obvious link that will be created between Spider-Man and Dr. Doom in the MCU, between Peter and the villain who wears the face of his mentor. In the long run, the plot could even become more intimate, less grandiose, propelling Peter Parker as the great hero of history to face Tony Stark's reflection, thus proposing a plot similar to what the Infinity Saga had presented to us, with the duel between Tony and Thanos, even creating the parallel between the two characters. As for the more general part of the plot, you can find a semblance of the relationship between Thanos and Gamora through the one between Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom. A long-standing relationship, more complex, bringing the famous rivalry of the two characters on the big screen. So, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, our Spider-Man, he was initially outside the equation. He was a hero among many others. But now that Robert Downey Jr. is back, the importance of Spider-Man in history has changed completely. Now he is directly connected to the great villain. Before talking about Venom, let's take a quick look at Spider-Man 4 in its entirety, or how to treat a new multiverse. We could therefore ask ourselves, after No Way Home, and since the movie had allowed other Spider-Men to come on Earth 616, what if now it was perhaps not time for our Spider-Man to go to the others? Or rather, what if it was possible to merge the two so that the three Spider-Men meet again in the same place? After all, Avengers Doomsday could be capable of it, especially if Spider-Man 4 takes place just after. A multiverse anomaly today is what is easiest to put in place. Or why not show us an incursion? Two universes that come into contact with, as a threat, the destruction of another. Why not make it one of the consequences of Avengers Doomsday? A movie that could start the succession of incursions throughout the multiverse, which will form the Great Multiverse War, allowing several films to connect directly to Secret Wars, and suddenly allowing, in this case, several Spider-Men to meet again. You can imagine the possibility of releasing a Spider-Man movie between the two Avengers of the saga. It is an opportunity not to be missed, and this to create a direct link between Spider-Man 4 and the great plot of the saga. Clearly, Spider-Man 4 takes advantage of a place of choice to lead it to Secret Wars, which is through a post-credit scene where our universe, like many others, has lost. Everyone would then be obliged to take refuge in the only place still standing, the famous void, the MCU's Battleworld, an idea that does not come from nowhere, since it is the Deadpool and Wolverine movie that put it in place when it explains to us what this place is. Now, we are going to talk about the Venom case, a rather complex part but necessary to fully grasp the desires of the creators, and therefore what this aspect of the Spider-Man 4 film could address. It is undoubtedly the most interesting part, so it is rich in possibilities. First, the final teasing of No Way Home with Venom does not come from nowhere. The meeting of the symbiote with Peter Parker takes place in the comics during Secret Wars. But what becomes the information when we discover that Kevin Feige himself has already spoken out about his desire to include Tom Hardy's Venom in the MCU? He even specifies that he loves Tom Hardy in the role. And if it is then possible to take advantage of the chaos generated by Secret Wars to bring Venom home again, so that Tom Hardy and Venom can participate in one way or another in the great war that is taking place in the Battleworld, well, the idea is to dig. In the meantime, Spider-Man 4 could approach the multiverse differently and offer us this time a connection with the world of Venom, the Sony Marvel universe. You may not know it, but at the very beginning, Peter Parker, our Spider-Man, had to exist in both universes. He had to be the only character to have a mysterious power capable of transporting him between the MCU and the Sony universe. And I'm not making this up. It was the president of Sony himself who had shared the information. Coupled with what has been happening recently, how can we not see a plot of great magnitude? I remind you that the Sony universe has still not had Spider-Man, and that Figure You, one of the recent films of the Sony universe, tried to incorporate another Spider-Man, but finally cut it in editing. The concept art exists. Spidey had to appear briefly in Madam Web, You Don't Dream, an idea that was suddenly removed. It was a little bit the same as for Spider-Man's drawing in the movie Morbius. To believe that they want to connect everything, but that it gets stuck at the last moment. Now, on a note more focused on theory, what if the incursion that Spider-Man 4 could present was related to the universe of Venom? After all, our two universes have indeed been in contact, and still today, still at the post-credit scene of No Way Home, a part of Venom is still present in the MCU. Who knows what to feed the famous incursion? This idea is crazy, especially since it incorporates the universe of Venom, but who knows? Marvel Studios and Sony eventually agreed, so anything is possible. In any case, they know that we fans are looking forward to meeting Peter and the symbiote with great impatience, and inevitably they will play it. Or else Spider-Man 4 is really bigger, more ambitious, bringing back the Spider-Man, the presence of Venom and Eddie Brock played by Tom Hardy and more. In short, everyone will be in Avengers Secret Wars. Everything is possible. For now, the Venom part seen at the end of No Way Home is well in the main universe of the MCU, but we'll talk about it again once Venom 3 is available. So far, as we have seen, there are a lot of possibilities, and personally, I can't wait for this Spider-Man 4 movie. Can't wait to have your feedback, your opinion on all this, your ideas, your theories. Let's talk about all this in joy and good mood. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm counting on you to explode the like button. It helps me a lot and encourages me to make you lots of beautiful videos. According to legend, you can get cosmic power by clicking on the like button. And of course, if it's your first time on the channel, or if it's still not done, subscribe, a little click to be part of the KraziGeek family. Here you will find a video of great importance because it is necessary to better understand how Tony Stark becomes Dr. Doom. A video not to be missed. As for me, I wish you a pleasant day or evening. It was Sam and you were on KraziGeek. Take care of you.